Hey everybody, welcome back to another video about living in Halifax. I'm Tom Moore, your host, a realtor with RE/MAX right here in town. Today we're going to be going over the pros and cons of living in Halifax in 2024. Once again, the reason we put these videos out is for folks like you who are thinking about making a move here. We're always looking to help you out. So if you are thinking about making a move, whether you're coming into Halifax or moving away, feel free to reach out. We'd love to give you a hand. Other than that, let's hop to the movie and let's go. So pro number one is going to be the amenities that Halifax has to offer. Now, Halifax is a medium-sized city, around 500,000 fluctuations in population every year, but we have a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, a lot of shopping, surprisingly more than people actually anticipate when coming out here. We've got quite a few sports teams. We've got a professional lacrosse team as well as semi-pro soccer team. And then we've got things like concerts and festivals that happen throughout the year. And every year it seems we're getting larger named comedians, which is putting Halifax on the map in kind of a new way as well. So when it comes to the seasons as well, you're able to find different things to do outside. In the wintertime, it does tend to die down here, but you've got the outdoor skating at the Oval. You've got winter hikes very close to town, and then you've got ski hills within an hour or two. In the summertime, you've got things like this, which is the open air beer garden. We've got a few of those scattered throughout the downtown, and then we've obviously got a whole bunch of different outdoor amenities. So overall, Halifax packs well above its weight when it comes to amenities for this medium-sized city. Okay, so pro number two is going to be the relative affordability of homes in Halifax when looking at some of the other major cities across Canada. Halifax right now has an average price of right around 510,000, which is much more affordable when you're comparing to some of these larger cities like Toronto, Vancouver, even parts of Montreal. The other thing that's interesting to consider is that condos in Halifax tend to be a little bit on the cheaper side as well. However, we do have a little bit higher strata or condo fees. It really depends on where you're looking, but this is something else to consider if you're moving here, is that your barrier to entry when looking at Canada as a whole, especially an oceanside city, is not as high as you might think. All right, so pro number three is going to be your access to parks and the outdoor amenities that Halifax has to offer. One of the really great things here is that a half-hour drive in Halifax is considered quite long. But I'm right down in the south end right now at Point Pleasant Park, which is one of the kind of staple parks of the city. We've also got things like the Commons, which is a huge field area right underneath Halifax Citadel Hill that has an outdoor skating rink, as which turns into a rollerblading rink. They just put in a brand new public pool there. And then you've got things like going to the beach. You can access the beaches here, whether you want to just lay out or surf within about 20-25 minutes. So there's just a ton of outdoor amenities throughout Halifax, and all of them are very accessible. Okay, up next for pros, let's talk about schooling. We can talk about schoolings of all levels. Now, I'm on Dalhousie campus, which is one of our post-secondary and graduate school programs here, but we also have St. Mary's, Mount St. Vincent, Community College, Art College. So there's a ton of options here for pursuing whether it's your undergraduate or graduate program. They're all very high class. Now, when it comes to the little ones, the kids, you've got a lot of options there as well. You've got English school, you've got French immersion, you've got the Acadian school system, which you need to kind of qualify for. And then you've also got things like the private schools. You've got Halifax Grammar, Sacred Heart, Armbray Academy, a couple others. So overall, you're going to have a lot of access to different schooling options at all levels. And again, it really depends on what you're looking for, but Halifax has it. Okay, up next for pros, let's talk about crime and safety. Now, Halifax has a very safe feel about it. You can basically walk wherever, any time of day, and you're not going to really feel like you're in danger at all, or run into any kind of situations where you might feel a little spooked out. Now, we do have, like every Canadian city, a bit of a homeless population. Sometimes that's involved with addiction issues or just honestly bad luck. Now, sometimes, depending on who you're running into, you might get a little bit of a spooky feeling like you get everywhere else. But overall, realistically, walking through every neighborhood, you're going to have a very safe feeling. Again, I have clients that come from outside of the province, and that's one of the big questions they ask me. I look at the map, I'm like, listen, there's really nowhere that you've got to be worried about moving to where you're going to have a higher risk of crime. Okay, con number one, moving on to the cons, is going to be cost of goods. This is the superstore. The liquor store is right there too. This is something that my friends that come to visit me from Ontario, other parts of the country, really seem to notice as well, is that the groceries here, liquor prices here tend to be a little bit higher. just based on where we are, as well as the fact that we do pay a little bit more in taxes in Nova Scotia. We tend to have one of the highest tax brackets there. Now, there are certain ways around this. Restaurants can be a little bit expensive. I find that bars and going out for a casual drink, listening to music and stuff like that tends to be actually pretty on par. You know, it's nothing crazy, I guess I would say. But then the other thing you can do is there's certain grocery stores around town that tend to be a bit cheaper. Gateway Meat Market out in Cole Harbour. And then there's a couple others there where you just got to plan a bit more when you're doing your shopping so that you get the most bang for your buck. Okay, con number 2 is going to be your transportation options. Now, Halifax is a medium-sized city. We don't have streetcars, we don't have subways, but we do have ferries. 2 main ferries right now, Dartmouth and Woodside to downtown Halifax, with plans for another 1 or 2. Then we've also got our bus system. This is kind of our most popular form of transportation. And quite honestly, I do get mixed reviews. I've got friends who live out in Sackville, which is about a half hour away. They say that they actually don't mind the bus system. They've got new bus lanes along the major transportation routes with plans for more to come in. However, I do have other friends who say they don't love the bus system at all. So it really kind of depends on your preference. The other option would be in the summer, spring, fall, take your bike. We've got new bike lanes going in. And again, there's plans to expand this network. So it really just depends on how you like to get around. Con number 3 is going to be related to rent. So one thing that people find when they come out here is that over the last couple of years, we've seen rents skyrocket. Vacancy rates are low, which means it's hard to find an apartment. On average, a 1-bedroom is going for about $2,000 a month. Now, the issue with Halifax is that our annual salaries are actually still quite low. So, you know, your annual salary for an individual here in Halifax is between $55,000 and $60,000 a year. And when you factor in all other kinds of things like cost of goods, transportation, entertainment, all that stuff, and rent, then you have a little bit less to play with. So this is something to really consider: is you have a good job, what tax bracket you're moving into, and where and how much are you willing to spend on rent, because these are all things that you should factor in. All right, up next for cons is going to be the healthcare situation in Halifax and Nova Scotia, I guess Canada as a whole. But one thing that you'll notice out here is that the family doctor wait is quite a long time. I think I mentioned this in the last video, but it took my fiance several years to get her own personal family doctor. And this is something that's pretty consistent across the board when newcomers are moving here. Just general healthcare complaints. Now, our emergency system is great. If you have something go wrong, car crash, heart attack, you know, whatever, you're going to be fixed up by the best professionals around. And they are taking strides to attract new doctors, as well as open up new clinics, outpatient clinics like the one in Bears Lake, which is designed to alleviate some of that pressure. But overall, this is a long-term play. It's a work in progress, and it's something that needs to continually be kind of taken care of and updated.
Well, folks, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this quick video on the pros and cons of living in Halifax for 2024. Once again, I'm Tom Moore, work with RE/MAX Nova right here in Halifax, and we're always happy when people reach out to us, whether they're buying or selling. Other than that, we'll see you in the next video, and have a great day.